I've been meaning to sit down for a while to talk about this. I just hadn't gotten a chance. You guys send me stuff and I save it with the intention of commenting on it later on, and I don't always get the chance to. I just don't have the time, but today I have a little bit of time and I chose this particular topic because, yes, it's important to continue to talk about Cuba. That's what we do here a lot. As Cubans, we are hopeful that something will happen. For the first time in 67 years, we are hopeful, really hopeful that something will happen. Our generation is hopeful that something will happen that will drive the island toward freedom. But there's a particular group of people, and you guys have sent me reels, screenshots, posts of creators and people on the internet that don't have the same sentiment of wanting a free Cuba. They want the complete opposite. And that's because they get a kick of Cuba being stuck in time. Take a look at this. Travel to Cuba before the world catches on. Before the world catches on to what? Because these tourists go to Cuba and find amusing that they have cars from the 1950s? To find the buildings that are falling apart? Incredible and charming buildings that are falling on people. People that don't have anywhere else to go and they're forced to live in these buildings. Oh, they find that amusing. They find that incredible because they get to go on their cheap vacation and look at the Cubans like they are just like zoo animals. Ooh, look at the Cubans. Look at the mulattoes. These people don't want Cuba to be free. But I want to go ahead and take a look at this video. Just look at the video, but take a look at the comments. Take a look at the comment section.
¿Cómo están? ¿Cómo se llaman?
Gladys.
Gladys, Broba, ¿y tú? Este mercado tan grande, mira, ¿quieres decir algo a la gente? Que vengan aquí, ¿no?
Sí,
No,
que
pero
vengan.
este mercado está loco, mucha gente.
Esto es una locura, mi amor, aquí.
¿Y qué grande es?
Y cantidad de gente.
¿Sí es peligroso aquí?
It isn't a surprise to anyone that Cuba has been a hub for sex tourism for decades. And there are sick men and women online, mostly men, that prey on young women that are underage that are in Cuba. And Cuba has degenerated to the point that young girls are thrown at the foreigners by their elders for entertainment, for company, for a few dollars. They're showcased, they're pushed. Because someone's got to make it out here. People got to eat. And these sick people want to tourist in Cuba before it changes. Before human rights are actually enforced. They want to see Cuba before our families have running water and are not dying from medical malpractice. They want to see Cuba before our families have the right to express themselves without going to prison. They want to see Cuba while our people are still enslaved. That's what they want to see. Go to Cuba before the world catches on. Go to Cuba before the world catches on. The world has caught on to the truth. Cuba is a communist dictatorship. Cubans are oppressed. And that's just how you want to keep them for your cheap travel purposes. So you can go there, ride on some old car, and feel vintage and precious. So you could go there and find a young girl or boy or young woman and do what you want for very cheap because you know that they will. Because you know that the situation in the country is so bizarre that they will do whatever you ask for very little. That's what you don't want to lose. That's what these people don't want to lose. And that's what we're fighting against. We, Cubans that have family on the island, understand that Cuba needs to be free. But we're out here fighting a conglomerate, not only just the tourists, companies that are created to encourage people to visit Cuba before the world catches on. As if Cuba is just some hidden gem in the Caribbean. Cuban people are dying, and no, it is not because of the US's fault. It is not because the US's fault. It's not because of the US. Cuban people are dying because the Cuban government does not want or can't give power to the people as the socialists are supposed to. Because if they were to give real power to the people, power of choice, human rights, power of expression, they know that the people would revolt. But people are afraid because they're oppressed, because they have no weapons, because there's retaliation every time they decide to speak up or stand up for themselves. So this truly disgusting behavior and sales tactic is what we're up against. We are here dealing with real world issues, life or death issues. In my family, just alone, there have been over 3 malpractice deaths. Of course, they're not going to report them. It's not convenient. They control the narrative. They control the data. They control the statistics. That's just my family alone. How many other families like mine? Malpractice deaths. But these people don't care. They don't care if the Cubans are being slaughtered in these hospitals, if they're dying, long waiting lines, if they're dying every time the electricity goes out. They don't care. Because they want to get in their 1959 Chevy. Ay, que lindo. Because they want to go and, get that 15-year-old girl or that 12-year-old boy. Because you can do that in Cuba. Because it's allowed. That's what communism has done to our island. And that's what we're fighting to liberate it from. And there's so little we can do physically. All we can do is continue to create the content to inform people and let them know. Don't allow people to come to you with this narrative. You should go to Cuba before everybody, oh my gosh, before it changes. Before what changes? Before it becomes a free country? Before it's actually a vacation that you have to work hard for and not just some cheap thrill? It's insulting. It's disgusting. And it's what keeps happening. So I urge you, when you encounter this, have a counter argument. Don't just allow these people to walk around and just say this without at least a rebuttal. Qué asco.